treasures lie in Singapore waters. And as there are no reported treasures in Singapore waters whatsoever, this makes it a somewhat challenging topic. Everything on the land is reclaimed, so that makes it somewhat difficult to find all the shipwrecks, which increase in density as you get closer to the shore. And there are certainly wrecks that are findable in the archives, and to be in the archives, they're written up, they're stored, so therefore they're all the European ships that have come from the 16th century and beyond. And before that, you've got statistics, so the number of vessels travelling through Singapore waters. The fact that you've got storms, you've got the reefs, sandbanks, pirates, battles, storms. So just from that pure volume of shipping, there's going to be a lot of shipwrecks in Singapore Strait. There's going to be a lot of shipwrecks in Singapore Strait. And the fact that the whole Kallang Basin area is potentially the old Singapore River port, and even right through to the 17th century when there's some artefacts that show up. And you have that huge density of shipping out there, so you can't even go out and survey. You can't use side scan, you can't use a magnetometer. So a big challenge in finding wrecks. So to find what might be out there, we actually have to determine what could be offshore by knowing what has been found onshore. And it's already been through Singapore Strait. And if it was 14th century and Singapore was such a thriving port in the 14th century, the chances are that that vessel had stopped in at Temasek to trade, or perhaps it was a Chinese vessel that had come down with that cargo, had offloaded it in Temasek and had been loaded onto another ship. Could be Arab, could be Indian, could be Southeast Asian. So the tin had been brought down through Singapore Strait to get down to Palembang to carry on towards Eastern Java on the Intan wreck. So that is something that could potentially be. So we're pushing things a little bit, but you could have a tin cargo in Singapore Strait. You could also have cargoes of glass. That was a battle there, so there's a good chance, there's no recording of any Portuguese vessels being lost in this particular battle, but there's a very good chance there's Achinese vessels lost, and they're now under Changi Terminal 3, 4 or 5. The Johorians are there, so it's a big battle. There's, again, no recorded loss of a European ship, but there must be European ships lost in Singapore waters. So Singapore was part of Johor, so there's far from being a certainty, but there is a very good chance that the Bin Tuan ship and its cargo of Changchao ceramics were bound for Singapore. So going from all this speculation, we can have a quick look at what is actually there. And to do that, all you have to do is go downstairs, and you can find the Straits Times, you can find the Singapore Free Press, and you can find the Penang Gazette, which go back and very detailed descriptions of ship losses, treasure, which was silver coins. So they're sitting down there within 1 mile of Raffles Lighthouse. So we have to go all the way out here to Pedro Branca. So the Shah Munchar is definitely, or was definitely, lost on Pedro Branca. And between 1824 and 1851, 16 large vessels were totally lost there. We've gone through with much speculation, possibilities, and some reality. But what do we have to show for all that after all these years? And Singapore being essentially a maritime port right up to the 20th century. Singapore has been a maritime port, the main reason for being here. So the last image is of the Singapore Maritime Museum. And there isn't one. And there isn't one. So I would like to contribute to the Maritime Museum that soon will be, I hope. Thank you.